Sports pregame show.
Hey there, and thank you for joining us on 2K Sports. I'm Ernie Johnson. This NBA season didn't take long to get interesting, but these two gentlemen have always captured our interest. Say hello to Shaquille O'Neal and Kenny the Jet Smith. Hello.
It's the Celtics from Boston who find themselves on the road here today for an interconference battle. You're in for a treat as we bring you NBA basketball on 2K Sports. With Greg Anthony, Clark Kellogg, and our sideline reporter, Doris Burke, this is Kevin Harlan. Here in Houston, it's another home game for the Rockets. They've been picking up some steam, and if they can play this well all season, they'll be in excellent shape.
Yeah, right now, though, the Rockets, they're a team that a lot of people called for to kind of go wire to wire in terms of being in first place. That's not possible anymore, but clearly this is an elite team.
Without question, I mean, their expectations may have been a little outsized, but this is a terrific team, and even that doesn't mean you'll win every game.
And now the opening lineup for Boston. They've got Horford. Smart is out there with Brown. Then it's Aaron Baines, and it's Hayward in at the 3 spot.
If you look at Chris Paul, you're looking at a guy who really is the standard bearer of point guards. I mean, he can pass, he can score, he plays great defense. He also competes. But what makes him the floor general that all others are measured against, really the instincts and leadership.
Here's Brown, following the score by Trevor Ariza. Hayward dishes to Brown. They get a hand on it. Hayward kicks to Brown. They set the pick. Out of bounds, Celtics ball as Boston keeps possession. Stolen by Harden. Hayward against Ariza. Feeds it to Paul. Kicks it out to Harden. Good, and Paul gets the assist. Harden's got his first basket of the night.
It's the 2K Sports pregame show.
Welcome to 2K Sports, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Ernie Johnson, Shaquille.
It's the land of mission control, Houston, Texas, where the Rockets are ready to engage in an interconference showdown. Bringing you some fun on a Monday night, it's the NBA on 2K Sports. This is Kevin Harlan with Clark Kellogg and Greg Anthony, and on the sideline tonight, Doris Burke. Celtics are looking to end their road trip here with a strong outing. This is a team showing a better record this year over last. This was their goal, and it's coming to fruition so far.
And, you know, for the Celtics, they've done a good job staying relevant this season. I mean, I was concerned they'd suffer a drop-off, but just give them credit. They've hung in here in this playoff race.
Yeah, I think it's been a good showing for them. I mean, they should feel very good about their position going into the postseason.
All right, let's set the floor. Courtesy of Gatorade, all fueled up and ready to go. On the court right now for the Celtics. We've got Hayward. Marcus Morris is out there with Horford. Then there's Brown. And
It's the 2K Sports pregame show.
a great bird's eye view of the arena here in Houston, Texas. The Rockets play before the hometown crowd here in downtown Houston, Texas. The Houston Rockets coming to this one after a win against the Dallas Mavericks.
You know, they played well enough to win, but to be honest with you, I just felt like their opponent's defensive performance was shaky at best.
Yeah, I'd go along with that, Greg. I mean, the game wasn't handed to them, but they definitely didn't have to work as hard for it as they should have.
And now the opening lineup for Boston. Brown out there with T. Then it's Isaiah Thomas. Then there's Horford. And it's Hayward in at the shooting guard position. Now here's Brown. First shot, first basket. He's out of the blocks fast.
Yeah, just used his strength there to get the post position without much fight from the defense.
Yeah, I think he's got to do a much better job next time of just bodying up. Get some muscle into him.
And it's Paul penetrating. And here's Anderson for three. Good, and Paul gets the assist. Boston took a lot of steps forward last season with their coach, Brad Stevens. Still, though, their defense was near the middle of the road. That will need some tweaking.
Yeah, and you could say that seemed to be the limiting factor, Kevin, in how far they eventually went. Strange, given how several years ago they were an offensive juggernaut.
Yeah, you know, for the Celtics and their defense, a lot of it had to do with rim protection and challenging shots. They were actually last in the league in blocks.
Probably as close to a sure thing as you can have at the free throw line.
Now, here is Harden. A 14-point game for him in the win against Dallas.
Clearly, he's one of the best there is in the business when it comes to making that lead pass. Yeah, and the Celtics averaged under 4 blocks a game last season, but blocks aren't the whole story. They let opponents get too many easy looks inside the paint. That's the real factor in why their defense was subpar.
Now here's Paul. After Gordon Hayward's miss, Ariza with the bucket.
That shot was made possible by the work of Nene setting the screen.
Thomas against Paul. Thomas kicks to Brown.
The 2K Sports pregame show.
It's the Celtics from Boston who find themselves on the road here today for an interconference battle. 2K Sports is proud to present NBA basketball. I'm Kevin Harlan with Clark Kellogg and Greg Anthony and Doris Burke reporting from the sidelines. Here in Houston, it's another home game for the Rockets. A great start to the season for them, notching 3 wins to tip it off.
And I think for the Rockets, not a perfect start to the season, but they're in a position where all it takes is one modest winning streak to jump into that top spot.
Exactly right, Greg. I mean, this is a team capable of going on a major roll at any time.
So let's take a look at the Boston Celtics starting lineup. Smart is out there with Hayward. Then there's Brown. Then it's T. And it's Horford in at the 5. The pass to T. Good work defensively by Paul. Last season for James Harden was easily his best yet. Finished second in the MVP race. Put up huge numbers with career highs in points per game scoring. Greg at more than 27 a game.
And also carried that Rockets team that dealt with a plethora of injuries, mainly to Dwight Howard. And second in the league in scoring, I mean, narrowly losing out to Russell Westbrook, who just went on a tremendous tear the second half of the season. And then also finished runner-up in the MVP race.
About 1 minute into the first quarter. Now here's Smart. Defense right on him. A floater, and the layup is up and in.
Guys, that time he went for the fancy finish for us there, man. That was sweet.
Celtics on D. They come into this one following a loss to the Thunder.
And no matter how well you defend, when you shoot that poorly, it's going to be a very difficult challenge for you to get a win.
Yeah, there was sort of a snowball effect in that game too, guys. I mean, what started as a cold night for a few guys turned into a cold night for just about everybody.
And he gets it to go. Hayward's got his first 2 points of the night.
Oh, that is just weak defense there. I'm pretty sure that was not the plan to give him those kind of baskets at the hoop.
Now, here is Harden. Good, and Paul gets the assist.
You know, the defense has got to do a much better job of fighting over those screens.
And, Greg, especially when the ball is in his hands. I mean, come on now. You know he doesn't miss too many open looks like that.
Here's Smart. Picked by Horford. Here's Hayward. And a foul on the shot. He'll go to the stripe for 2. First trip to the line for him here.
It converted more than 4 out of every 5 free throw attempts last year. So just solid at the line.
Guys, he is close to where he was last year in that category, but his numbers are still down just a skosh.
Well, looking back on last season, you could see the Rockets were tough at home. They just were relentless at going at teams.
Yeah, how about a 30-11 record last year? And a lot of close ones for them, but that home crowd at times could just really will them to victory.
As it did help in the series against the Clippers last year in the playoffs. Here is Hayward. The Rockets making the shot. And lots of contact there. Missing the shot. He'll shoot 2. That one is on a reason.
And, you know, for Houston's wins at home, a lot of it had to do with their three-point shooting. I mean, they shot an average of 35% from behind the arc at home, but kept their opponents to under 30% on the year in Houston.
And, guys, this is what makes Houston so good and why they've been so good for so long. In the last 31 seasons, they've only had 2 losing seasons. Only team in the league to do that.
Here's the floater. Comes out of the gate empty. He's 0 for 1. Down low, here's Brown, and he makes it look easy, dunking it hard with one hand.
Oh, Maestro, he is so good at making those lead passes, like conducting an orchestra.
Here's Paul. They look to him for part of their offensive attack. Right now, he averages nearly 12 points a game.
Defender there in the neighborhood, but not quite close enough. Good shot.
Boston trailing. And here in the first quarter, with a little over 3.5 minutes played, Brown right side. Stolen by Anderson. Paul outside. Pass to Harden. To the paint, Nene. A great 1-2 punch. Beautiful pass and nasty jam.
And that's the classic 1-2 punch right there. I mean, nice steal. And then how about the elevation, Kevin, on the finish?
And Greg, nothing spurs some quick offense like a great play defensively.
That indicates the importance of great on-the-ball defense, as was displayed right there.
Guys, that's just really unstoppable. He poses a ton of matchup problems for whomever he's facing.
And Houston calls their first time out of the game. They want to keep it rolling here following the win against Dallas.
And we've talked about how in the NBA you've got to earn your points the hard way. And that really wasn't the case in that game for them.
No, there was no hard way about it. I mean, they got their points easily on dunks and layups against a defense that really didn't offer much of a fight.
Catching up on the changes for Houston. Capella's checked in. Bahamute comes in for Ryan Anderson. P.J. Tucker, he's checked in for Trevor Ariza. And Gordon subbed in for James Harden. Now, here's Tucker. Shot clock at 6. It's stolen by Morris. .119 left in the first quarter. And there's the 3-second call, this one on the defense. Celtics have made 2 and missed 2 at the line tonight.
In the season ago, they hit about 75% of their free throws.
And he shows the focus there, nails the technical.
And guys, as much as Isaiah Thomas can help you on offense, at times he can hurt you on the defensive side. Immediately posted up by whomever he's guarding, you have to give help. And, of course, that leaves your defense vulnerable, particularly on the weak side and controlling that defensive backboard.
Now here's Hayward. 11 points for him in that last game against the Thunder in Oklahoma City. Tucker with the ball. A shot by Paul. Nobody around. And that one's on target from the wing. Greg, you're talking about Isaiah Thomas before. Certainly his short stature limits him on Clark, the defensive side.
Yeah, but you know what? He doesn't rack up a ton of steals, given his instincts and quickness. I think he really focuses on making his impact at the offensive end.
Here's Morris following the basket by Chris Paul. Morris, no good.
I'm a fan of anybody who defends that way. I mean, they weren't about to open the door and just allow him to cruise in for a layup.
Paul dishes to Gordon. Too long in the paint, and he's hit with a 3-second violation. And this is his first trip to the line tonight.
Gotta admire what he's been able to do at the free throw line this season. How about over 90%?
I don't think you really can say enough about the work he's put in and the massive strides he's made in his free throw shooting, guys. I mean, his numbers are way up this year.
And he gets it to go.
You know, there's no better sign of how efficiently a team is operating than their assist numbers. And theirs are fantastic.
Just beautiful when they play the game like this.
Whistle blows.
It's the 2K Sports pregame show.
Hello and welcome, everybody. Ernie Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny the Jet Smith. We're glad to have you with us on 2K Sports. Tonight, we'll see the Boston Celtics playing against the Houston Rockets at Toyota Center. And for Houston, they're just above 500 after their first 10 games, at 6-4 to be exact. They haven't set the world on fire, but there has been more good than bad, that's for sure. Well, if you want to describe the two teams going at it tonight, they are fresh, young, and hungry. Kenny, how hard is it for these two coaches to get their guys to play consistently?
I mean, experience is probably the most valuable tool in the NBA, and that inexperience makes it hard. You know, it's a teaching tool. You got to yell a lot, start pulling your hair out.
It's the land of mission control, Houston, Texas, where the Rockets are ready to engage in an interconference showdown. Celtics are looking to end their road trip here with a strong outing. This is a team showing a better record this year over last. This was their goal, and it's coming to fruition so far.
And you know, for the Celtics, this season has been, it's been solid. But they just need to maintain their place in the standings and get 100% prepared here for the postseason.
I really think this is a dangerous team that could be a popular choice as a playoff sleeper.
All fueled up and ready to go. Brought to you by Gatorade. Let's check out who's on the floor. On the floor for Boston, Isaiah Thomas out there with Hayward. Then there's Brown. Then there's Horford. And it's Morris in at the power forward. Paul kicks to Nene. It's good. He makes his first shot of the game.
Well, Merry Christmas. I mean, that was a freebie.
Well, I tell you what, Nene is a man among boys down low. Remarkable physical power. He's also got a tough mentality about him. Just a real rugged individual.
And getting back to Nene, an obvious inside player with great impact. He looks and plays like a man possessed. Yet through last season, Greg, he's never averaged as much as 8 rebounds a game.
And, you know, his true value is measured in intangibles at times, not just on the stat sheet. He does all the dirty work so others can shine.
Gordon's checked in for Houston. Now here's Paul. They look to him for part of their offensive attack. Right now he averages nearly 12 points a game. 6 to shoot. Well-timed pass, and he goes straight to the bucket for the layup. Paul's got his first bucket in this one. Hayward goes in. Brown outside. Out to Hayward. He trains it as the shot clock ticks down.
You know, he'll make you scratch your head and throw your hands up as a defender. I mean, you just don't know how to play it.
Paul dishes to Anderson. There's the pick. He feeds it to Harden. In the corner, it's Gordon. Jacks up a 3. Offensive rebound. And foul called as he misses. He'll go to the line and shoot 2. That one on Horford.
Clearly a foul.
Yeah, he took a shot there. Earned those free throws.
Houston shooting their initial free throws of the game right here.
And they've had really good numbers all season from the free throw line.
One of the things they've done, guys, is taken pride in their free throw shooting this season, and rightfully so.
And a really good way to start the game. He's a guy who, if he gets it going early, he's going to give you problems.
The Boston Celtics figured to be near the bottom of the league last year. In many ways, they outperformed a lot of people's expectations.
And by no means were they a contender at any point, but they very well could be ahead of themselves in terms of the rebuilding process.
For Boston, they come into this one following a loss to Oklahoma City.
Yeah, but when you shoot a percentage in the low 30s as a team, and they did that in that game, it is just not going to be your night.
No, it's certainly not going to be your night shooting that poorly. And so often when that happens to a team, it's hard to get out of that funk once you get into it.
And Thomas has it in the corner. Inside, Brown. Back to Thomas. Goes up again. Nice move. Thomas with another miss. The Rockets have gone 3 of 5 shooting the ball so far. Here's Harden. Hangs in midair and converts on the double clutch layup. Harden's got his first basket of the night. Boston shooting to start out this game about 43%. Hayward passes to Thomas. Good work defensively by Paul.
Usually if he gets to the rim, he's converting it into points. But the defense stood tall there.
Morris against Paul. Hayward outside. Back to Morris. And the ball goes out of bounds. Touched by Morris. And while we can, here's a look at the teams that had the fastest hands in the league last season. In third, the Rockets.
You could tell by watching them how much they enjoyed playing defense. They seem to have an endless reserve of energy flying around and pressuring the basketball.
Catching up on the changes for Houston. Capella's checked in, and Mbah-a-Moute comes in for Anderson. Paul's shot is off.
That's not the type of opportunity he fails to convert very often. Chris Paul, guys, for the last decade, the best point guard in the NBA. Now, there's some new competition for that distinction, though, with Steph Curry breaking through to NBA stardom. And it's always exciting to watch these two go head-to-head.
That's good.
A good open look, and he splashes home the three.
Boston trail. And I think Doris Burke has something for us right now. Doris?
Yes, I had the chance to talk with the head coach for Houston. I asked him if he had a plan for all the speed he'll be up against, and he told me a key would be transition defense, saying speed shows up most in the transition game, and we feel if we take that away from them, we have a major advantage. Back to you guys.
Thanks again, Doris. The Rockets making a switch here. Tucker's checked in. On defense, Boston, following the three from Chris Paul. How would you compare Chris Paul and Steph Curry?
Well, Steph Curry is just an off-the-chart shooter. I think the best in the history of the game in overall shot making and creativity. As far as shooting goes, Paul is more of an orchestrator, a maestro supreme.
And watching Jay Crowder, he can really beast you up, Greg, and take you out of your game. One of the most physical wings, I think, in the NBA.
And, not the most flexible athlete, but he makes up for that with that strength that you mentioned. It allows him to control the pace. I mean, he's a bumper and a grinder and hitting a big three out of nowhere. So he's what we call a true gamer.
Looking at Jay Crowder, he got traded from Dallas to Boston in the Rondo deal last season. Nobody expected all that much from him. All he did was go out and become one of the most valuable players on that team.
So the Celtics called timeout. They're first.
When you talk about Jay Crowder, there are those that you win because of, and then there are guys like him that you win with. I mean, the guy who's going to take the charge, commit the hard foul, do what others won't, really shows the heart of a champion.
And the Celtics making a change here. Al Horford is checked in for Jay Crowder. Brown comes in for T. Gordon Hayward's checked in for Marcus Smart. And Thomas subbed in for Rozier. Now here's Tucker. Takes it from 10, and he sinks that one, hitting the back of the rim on the way in. Celtics trail by 6. About 3 seconds between shot and game clock. Here's Hayward. And foul called as he misses. He'll go to the line and shoot 2.
Yeah, way to play in attack mode and get to the line.
And, the defense gets their money's worth on that foul, stopping the layup and not giving up the and one.
Hayward hits them both.
And that's another area where he is just a superb player. Excellent at the free throw line.
Hayward against Harden. Out to the wing. Here is Mbah-a-Moute. No good with the triple. Baines. No good. And certainly an intriguing matchup tonight. Let's hear from Trevor Ariza on his.
You're playing against a team that...
Ariza might as well be describing his own game, Clark. Scrappy, ready to play, ready for anything, ready to claw to get that win.
Well, you know, he does have that kind of all-around, all-out game going back to his days at UCLA. I mean, when you combine that with his talent, he's a guy who, no matter where he's been, his teammates rave about him and respect him.
And the first quarter is in the books. Second about ready to get underway. And looking at what we've seen from Houston, what do you guys think?
Defense paying huge dividends for them through the first.
Excellent hustle, and you know the coach has to be pleased with that effort at the defensive end.
On the floor for Boston, we've got Aaron Baines. Smart is out there with Brown. Then it's the kid, and it's A-Train in at the four-man position. Nene kicks to Gordon. Back to Nene. Again, the Rockets score. It's no secret, Clark, what this Houston Rockets team wants to do. They want to get to the line, drive the lane, and hurt you from outside the arc.
And they'll do it all at a very fast pace. I mean, they're fun to watch. The pace is something that I think sneaks up on teams sometimes, Kevin.
Good point. Here's the kid. The shot's good. Brown making the play.
And we always talk about making your teammate better. That assist was right on target.
Now here's Paul. Not a lot of room. D2 from Anderson. And again, the Rockets good for two.
And no doubt the Rockets were one of the faster-paced teams in the league last year. When you have the firepower they do, you want it to become a scoring fest.
Good.
Aaron Baines. Timeout charge.
And Houston calls their first timeout of the game.
A lot of the wins for the Rockets, guys, I thought last year came from just wearing down their opponent. I mean, you can keep up with their pace for a quarter, maybe two, but it's very hard to sustain it for 48 minutes shot for shot.
Yeah, saw some things that just weren't working for them and wants to make some adjustments.
Yeah, and no reason to wait around to do that, Greg. I mean, might as well make those adjustments right away.
And the Celtics making a change here. Al Horford is checked in for the A-Train. T comes in for the kid. Gordon Hayward's checked in for Brown. And Thomas subbed in for Marcus Smart.
Good. Boy, they are passing the ball very crisply right now.
They really are, and their last three buckets have come by way of an assist.
It'll go. The Rocket lead is cut down to 6, and the bucket from Al Horford.
And their shots are falling now with more regularity than we saw at first.
Well, it was a slow start, but they've gone from simmer to medium heat, and they're bordering on hot to close this gap. What a sweet assist by CP3.
Thomas goes in. Good work defensively by Paul.
And this is why you need good defenders on the interior to contest shots.
Yeah, Greg, making every shot a hard one, even the shots in close.
Usually you talk about how tough a player is, and you're always talking about big guys. But Chris Paul is as tough as they come playing that little point guard position.
Yeah, he's a power pack when you look at him. I mean, he's played through a lot of injuries and still has a big-time impact on the game. Most recently in the playoffs, he played through injury to beat the Spurs.
About 3 minutes played so far in the second quarter. Lets a floater go, and that one's good. Paul's got the lead up to 10 now for the Rockets.
Guys, his consistency in terms of shooting has really helped them seize control.
And that one's good.
Yeah, field goal percentage above 50 now. Their offense is starting to show.
And, you know, that's a really good sign. They stumbled out of the gate, but they're starting to look a little better now and regaining some ground.
That's good. And that's now 6 points for Nene.
An excellent display of passing out there, fellas. I mean, 8 of their last 10 points have been assisted on.
And they just keep finding the open man.
Time called here. The Celtics decide to talk it over. And this is the first season matchup for them against this Rockets team.
An interconference game here, just a 2-game season series.
Yeah, you know, you want to make every game count. Take care of business and give yourself a chance to sweep.
So for the Rockets, Capella's checked in, and Mbamute comes in for Anderson. And then for Boston, Brown is checked in for Aaron Baines, and Smart subbed in for Isaiah Thomas.
Here's a look at the stats for Trevor Ariza. Some last season stats for him. Averaged about 12 points a game, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. And he slogged through a really down season last year. He's motivated to make amends this season.
Most definitely. I mean, he knows he didn't have a good year. But now it's a completely fresh start, a reset button. I think he bounces back.
Gordon dishes to Harden. And that one goes in as he is fouled. It'll be 3 points if he converts at the line.
The assist totals, Kevin, just continue to grow. They're way ahead in that category. Ball movement has been flawless.
Clearly just an example of a different mindset between these teams.
P.J. Tucker, he's checked in for Trevor Ariza.
Now that's finishing your work right there.
Powerful two-hand jam, you're right.
And I tell you what, if he's got a few more of those in him, this lead will start shrinking even further. Well, the game's getting bigger, going international. But at least in the U.S., it really seems the game is going indoors. Back in the day, the legends of the game still played on the blacktop. That's becoming a thing of the past.
So it's the Rockets now, and Abamute kicks it to Tucker. He got right to the cup using that screen. Tucker's got his second bucket of the game to go.
Good job there by Harden setting that screen. Got his body right where it needed to be.
And speaking, Clark, of playground basketball, why do you think that is that the players are going indoors?
Well, I think one reason is playing on hardwood is nicer. It's easier on your joints and safer overall. The game has changed and it's big business now, but there are still plenty of weekend warriors who get their hoop on outside.
The Celtics really seemed to get better as last season wore on, too. GA finished the year looking very dangerous.
Yeah, Kevin, with the Celtics, they were dynamite after the All-Star break. Had the second best record in the Eastern Conference post-All-Star.
Now here's Hayward, guarded by Tucker. And it's going to be 2 free throws. Drew contact on the shot.
You know, one of the big things for the Celtics after the All-Star break was they played smarter. I mean, they went from the middle of the pack in terms of turnovers to a team that rarely made mistakes.
Yeah, that's a good point about the Celtics and their turnovers. Last year, after the All-Star break, they were 4th in the league in limiting their mistakes. They played well beyond their years down the stretch.
Capella, the pass to Gordon. Dishes it to Capella. 5 to shoot. From 12 feet out. Al Horford with the rebound. Celtics trail by 9. Hayward kicks to Brown. .40 seconds left now here in the second. Puts up the baby hook. Harden with the defensive effort.
Well defended, though, and he's not someone who handles that kind of pressure very well.
Poked loose. And now running up the court, Hayward's pushing it up. Here's T. Score it. His 3rd straight basket in 3 tries. Now, here is Harden. Defense is right there. Goes back up. No good on the layup. Hayward. The shot is off. And we finished.
Thank you, Kevin.
It's the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Hello again, everybody. Ernie Johnson here alongside Kenny. Houston found themselves in a close game in the first. At the end of the period, they held a 4-point. And that'll do it for now as we send you back to Kevin Harlan for the start of the second half.
And the second half about to start here in just a few moments.
Looking at the game for Hayward, he has 12 points, and he's done his job at the charity stripe. He's gotten 4 of his points from there.
And that's a good place to get them. They don't come easier than that, but you've got to get yourself there first.
Harden and Ariza filling out the perimeter. Nene is out there with Ryan Anderson, and it's Paul in at the point guard. That's the 5 for Houston right now. Here's Brown, taken away by Nene. Here's Paul. Makes the bucket. Now he's got 5 field goals, 5 for 8 in the game.
Just Mr. Reliable again here today, Kevin. I mean, they need his points, and he's producing.
And Nene, a guy with an incredibly strong start to his career in Denver, the first Brazilian to ever be selected in the first round. Voted, as you may recall, to the NBA All-Rookie team.
Yeah, and came into the league just a tremendously raw talent. Really developed faster than a lot of people expected, but what has been the case for him is the injury bug. I mean, the knee, the foot, shoulder, Achilles, you name it, he's had it, and it's hindered his career somewhat.
And cancer. He's beaten cancer.
That's very good point.
And here in the second half of play, we're just over a minute in. Brown against Ariza. Low block shot. And it's Brown missing. Rockets leading by 9. Ariza dishes to Paul. No good on the 3. And here's Boston. Horford the pass to Morris. Stolen by Anderson. To the middle. Ariza no luck. Celtics trail by 9. Here's Thomas. And he gets the bucket. Thomas got 5 points so far.
And I like how he puts himself in position there to finish on the break.
Yeah, you know, that's what we call seeing and feeling the game. Excellent read of how that play was going to develop and where the ball was going. That's stuff that you oftentimes can't teach, Greg.
And there's the whistle. Fouled hard on the shot. He'll go to the line. Chris Paul picks up that one.
Wow, he got whacked on that, which shouldn't be much debate there.
Blatant contact. Straightforward call. Simple.
Well, looking back on last season, you didn't know where the Rockets would end up in terms of seeding in the playoffs. Ended up with the 2 seed because they won the Southwest Division. And as it turned out, everything worked out very well for them.
It really did, and had a divisional matchup in that first round against the Mavs. But the Rockets took care of business in that series and would advance.
Down low, just 5 on the clock. And Harden wide open. He shoots. Thomas against Paul. And another shot. And that one's good. Paul's got 4 points in the quarter.
And, you know, for the Rockets, they had a major gut check in the second round. Went down 3-1 against the Clippers. Came back to win the series in 7, including Game 6, when I dozed off when they were trailing by 19 in the 4th and was shocked to wake up in the morning and see they had forced the 7th game.
Thomas inside, guarded by Harden. Thomas's shot is off.
Just not much success when it comes to shooting.
Harden outside. Paul outside. The pass to Jay. Pulled the shot a little left, but the bounce goes his way. And the Rockets lead by 9.
And with the Rockets last postseason, their trip to the conference finals was as far as they would go. Went out to the Warriors in 5 games. Most of them, though, close ones. I think most fans were pleased with how far the team went last year, in spite of all the injuries.
Time called here. The Celtics decide to talk it over. Last season, the Celtics had a solid 19-22 road record mark. Not the 500 mark most teams want, but a very good effort from a young team, and no one really expected that.
Yeah, and you think about this team that's still growing and has a lot of youth. I mean, that kind of road record, very impressive. Their fans should be feeling pretty good about what the future holds with this group.
Catching up on the changes for Houston. Capella's checked in, and Mbamute comes in for Trevor Ariza.
And thinking back on the Celtics, on the road, their away record doesn't tell the whole story. They won their last 7 road games in that tremendous playoff push.
Paul kicks to Mbamute. The feed to Gordon. The tray, good on the shot. Gordon's got 7 points.
How about the passing? They are moving the ball without any thought, without any individual agendas.
Yeah, and it's really fun to see that kind of unselfishness. Really hard not to appreciate all the assists they've racked up.
Here's Hayward. Inside. Here's Clutch. Shot is off. So Houston will take it the other way.
Another away from home note for the Celtics. They were 7-1 in road games against the rest.